You know it's a good day when you have a happy rant to give, because I want to talk about how amazing Kaiju number 8 is, and why aren't more people talking about this phenomenal anime. Holy cow, I expected that this would be a fun watch, but I didn't realize it was going to come out of the gates this hard in the first 4 episodes. Woo! I should not have slept on this anime at all. Hi there everyone, Lars here from Camille's Harem, not just a podcast for novice writers by novice writers, but also a YouTube channel by novice writers for novice writers, because writing is an adventure, it's more fun with friends, and I am here with a happy rant and recommendation for Kaiju number 8. If you have no idea what this amazing anime is about, it takes place in a futuristic Japan, where Kaiju have been unleashed! What else is new? If you've got Godzilla and all of his rogues gallery of other monsters, of course you're going to have a plethora of other monsters and all kinds of anime storming their way through Japan. So what's so new about this, Lars? Well, what's fun about Kaiju number 8 is not only does it take its main character and turn him into a monster to fight against these other kaiju, but also this is a story basically about a has-been. Not about some teenager who gained some amazing powers, not some college student who gained some amazing powers, not some incredible savant who gained some amazing powers. It is about a has-been, someone who has gone through his entire life preparing himself to fight against the kaiju. He's quite knowledgeable about what makes these monsters tick, what their weaknesses are, and everything. However, Kafka, our main character, has never been able to pass the necessary physical tests in order to actually fight against these monsters. As such, despite all of his passion and his know-how, he's just failed, and he's gone on to have a normal life, normal-ish for anyone who's living in kaiju beridden Japan, and works as the cleanup crew. He's a member of the national cleanup crew who is called to the different cities where the kaiju attack, and their job is to dispose of these massive bodies and try to clean up the place so that way actual construction crews can come in and try to rebuild the cities and get people's lives back on track. And so even in this incredibly insane, over-the-top setting, Kafka comes across as incredibly relatable to anyone who's ever had a dream and has failed to achieve that dream. For anyone who had these big dreams and ideas of who or what they could become in the future, but then just reality came to slap them in the face, fed them some humility pie and said, no, instead you're going to be doing this. It doesn't matter what your degrees are, it doesn't matter what your skills are, it doesn't matter if you were some great athlete or some amazing intellect back in school. No. The real world is way harder, way harsher. Congratulations, here's your slice of it. Now go on and make the best with what you've got. And so Kafka is basically doing that, making the best of what he has as a cleanup crew guy, getting to smell the nasty intestines and organs and blood and everything else from cleaning up these monster corpses, and being teased by all of his coworkers for being the one guy who keeps on trying to get into the awesome core of kaiju killers and protectors of the nation, but is always failing. It seems like his shot has come and gone. However, everything changes for Kafka when, a new guy comes and joins the crew, Ishikawa, who is trying to get some on-hands experience for dealing with these creatures, at least with their corpses, in preparation for taking the test to then join the special corps of kaiju killers. Kafka is put in charge of the newbie, and as such, a new fire is lit under him to try to be better, to live up to that dream. Even if he can't be one of the kaiju killers, at least he can be a good inspiration, a good mentor for this kid. Then, secondly, one of the kaiju happens to attack when no one expects it. The core has already come. The monster hunters have killed this most recent kaiju. The area should be secure, but another one appears on the scene, hunts both Kafka and Ishikawa, and the two of them just barely survive by the skin of their teeth. Brought into the hospital, Kafka is assaulted by one of these strange monsters. Another kaiju, except it doesn't exactly fulfill the requirements of being a massive monster, but this creature comes and says, "I found you," and burrows its way through his mouth into Kafka and transforms him into a monster. Now, as a hybrid human monster, you'd think that this guy would be like, "Oh, what's going to happen to me? I'm going to live under a bridge and make sure that no one ever finds out." Nope. He sees an opportunity with this amazing power, of course, after having to flee the hospital to not get killed by the kaiju killers. He and Ichikawa go and save a young girl and her mother, and thereby Kafka realizes that, wow, this new kaiju form that I have is amazing. I can save people. I can kill monsters in one punch. I'm the new One Punch Man! Who are showing up. They need bodies, they need experts, they need hunters and killers, and so the age limit has been raised. Kafka has got one last chance. And thus begins the training and tournament arc! Or so you may think. In fact, the setup in episodes 3 and 4 is very similar to My Hero Academia, with Deku trying to come on in and prove that he can indeed join UA and that he can become a hero. You have a similar setting like that playing out here for Kafka, but then things quickly go off the rails. And you realize This isn't a high school shonen story. This is very real, with some really disgusting monsters, real stakes, people are going to get hurt, and it is insane. And even if you are the hero of the day, that doesn't necessarily mean that people are going to come and shake your hand and congratulate you either. This is a gritty kill or be killed kind of world that Kafka and Ichikawa have decided that they are going to step into. As a result, this story again just feels incredibly relatable. Even though our main hero is completely OP when he's in his kaiju form, at the same time, you're rooting for the man behind the monster, the man within the monster, to prove himself, because without his kaiju form, he's just a regular dude, and he has to deal with that, being thrown into this impossible world, trying to live up to these impossible standards, doing an impossible job. And what really makes this work is that despite all of the action and the dark atmosphere, this is perfectly balanced with a lot of good jokes. The jokes flow freely, the jokes are well timed, some are a little bit more potty humorish, some are a little bit more sophisticated, but no joke overstays its welcome, and no joke is just thrown in where it's not needed. And that's great. It's great to see a story that balances so well the dark atmosphere, the humor, and the action all at the same time. Now, I have not read very far into the manga myself. Scott and I, for our seasonal anime preview, we read the first 5 chapters of Kaiju number 8, and I said this seemed pretty interesting. I was willing to give it a watch. I slept on the first couple of episodes, and then when I saw them, I was like, I need to binge every single episode that's out right now because this is amazing! And it's not just me saying it. When I head on over to my local Barnes & Noble, there is an entire section, and has been long before the anime came out, a section dedicated just to Kaiju number 8. So I know that this is a pretty popular manga within certain circles, and I'm expecting that this anime will also be pretty well received. But again, I'm actually not seeing so many people talk about it and lauding its praise. And I find that kind of interesting. Now then, for those of you who are watching this who may already have been fans of the manga or of the anime, I'd like to hear your input, your thoughts. What makes this story really stick out to you? I'm just really interested in the main character. Kafka really speaks to me, especially as someone who's also in his 30s, and being a writer, being a YouTuber, was definitely not my original plan. In fact, actually, my plans before this career were I wanted to be a historian, I wanted to be a teacher. At one point, I even wanted to be a bounty hunter. And fun little fact, I was a bounty hunter for a very brief stint. So this is not my original choice of career. Much like with Kafka, where it's like, I have big ideas, big plans, I'm going to go out, and then you fail, life comes and slaps you in the face, and then who knows where you're going to end up, and you're trying to wonder, how am I going to be the happiest doing what I'm doing? What can I do? How can I actually still live at least a part of my dream? That's a story that really speaks to me. But then on top of that, let me just be honest, the animation is gorgeous. The opening music and end credit music is just, oh my gosh, it's on point. It's so dang good. And the characters are just written really, really well. And I love how, even though you've got the setup for Kafka's going to meet up with Mina, I love the fact that there's so much tension and awkwardness between these two characters that the potential for, are we going to jump into romance and shipping, has been blasted out the second story window. It's like, no. We're going to be focusing on the mystery and the action and the horror, and I am there for it, which might surprise some people because I've done so many videos on writing romance and great romantic stories. But hey, sometimes I just love a story that's just straightforward, gives me amazing characters, amazing action, a very engaging plot, and I don't have to worry about romance and shipping. Sometimes that's a really nice break to have. But to sum it up, Kaiju number 8 gets 2 thumbs way up from me at the moment. I highly recommend checking it out. This is an anime that I'm not going to sleep on anymore. I don't know how many more reviews or analyses I might actually do for it going forward, because our schedule is already pretty crammed and busy, but if there is an opportunity to talk about it, especially during our live streams, I will most certainly do that, because this series needs way more attention, because it deserves it. It is that good. So with all that being said, I hope that you check out Kaiju number 8 if you haven't already done so. And if you'd like to support the work that we do here at Camille's Harem, then please check out the books that we've published. Links for them are in the description below. Otherwise, a like, a comment, or your subscription would be very much appreciated. But otherwise, thank you so much for joining us on this incredible adventure that we call writing. And until the next video, y'all, tschüss.